it's okay because it's us this time. That is the mindset of the magites and Q-tards. No other way to explain it. Can't dance around it. Can't make up silly little excuses. If the Democrats, Camaho, Pedo, Joe, Kenyon, Obama, were doing all the things that Trump is doing that lead directly to an AI digital control beast system, you guys would be screaming from the rooftops, probably jumping off in despair. But crickets, not a word. Do you hear that? Yeah, silence is deafening. So what am I talking about? In case you're still clueless as to what is being implemented, installed, and getting ready to be put into action. So as we know, Trump is Zionist controlled. Of that, there can be no doubt. Don't know why, don't know how, don't know who, but it is. And not depending on what your definition of is. So, for years, Trump whined, complained, moaned, groaned, and got all the magites and Q-tards to believe he was the victim of big tech, big pharma. They were all colluding to censor, dox, persecute, and eventually prosecute the self-anointed savior. It worked like a charm. But then a funny thing happened on the way to the loony bin. At Trump's installation inauguration were those very same big tech, big pharma censorers, doxers, persecutors in the front row, smiling like the Cheshire Cat. Why wouldn't they be? They had supposedly done all these terrible things to Trump. And yet, there they are in the front row at his installation. Trump then brings on supposedly billionaire master inventor Mr. PayPal Palantir Neuralink Musk to be his Doge dude. Shortly thereafter, Knuckleburger, Gates, even mass genocidal murderer, no, not Middle Eastern guy, Big Pharma, Bortles, all come to the White House, where they have dinner, they smile, they laugh, and Trump tells us how great they all are. During this time, Trump also brings in some new billionaire BFFs, like Altman from ironically named OpenAI, and Evil Ellison from Oracle, who both have openly stated publicly how we, the masses, need to be afraid to speak out, and controlling what we say will achieve that goal. So these guys are multi-billionaires, like number 3, 4, 5 in the world billionaires. Yet Trump gifts them $500 billion with a B of our money to build massive electricity and water ravaging AI data collection centers. Data being the key word. The data that is going into those centers is being collected by Palantir. If that name sounds familiar, it should. They gave us VP Vance and chose several other of Trump's regime personnel. Remember a couple months ago when after the I think it was the Annunciation church shooting, when Melania came out and whored herself, making a statement that it's about time that the government or someone start monitoring everybody's social media accounts and other places where their statements and opinions could be closely watched to prevent another crime, a tragedy. Sounds very Minority Report-ish to me, pre-crime stuff, which is already being used, by the way, in other countries who are test ballooning, trial ballooning, the total AI digital control beast system. And that is the plan here. Now, there are some who know this, but they're literally saying it's okay because it's us this time and it won't be used for nefarious purposes. But we worry what happens when another president gets in office. What will they do with it? Make that contradictory statement make sense to someone else. If you're so concerned about it, don't do it to begin with. You know, power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Or, you know what I mean. So, Trump realizes that the economy, the dollar, and the society as a whole are collapsing. He didn't start it, but he's going to finish it. He's made the statement, a very weak dollar makes money. Oh, it's going to be weak, all right, as in gone. He also knows that AI is far, far beyond where all the so-called experts are telling us it is. I believe that it's been sentient for some time now. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's because you're not sentient either. Also known as thinking independently and for yourselves. AI, within a year, maybe 2 at the most, will have eliminated 80 to 90% of the jobs on this flat earth planet. Now, I don't really give a shit what happens to other countries as long as our borders closed and we refuse to let them in when their shitholes collapse. I care about what happens here in the good old former USA. Alright, so here's Trump's dilemma as he boasts about taking another poison bioweapon thingy and his flu shot again. Seriously? Was the cap off the needle? As AI eliminates all the jobs, what are those tens of millions, likely hundreds of millions, although there's only a little over 100 million people working in this country right now, and most of them work for the government because they're the biggest employer in the United States intentionally, so that every shutdown causes the hair pulling and screaming at the sky we see now. But Trump knows 200 million people are going to be without jobs. Probably 250. No jobs means no money. Well, the dollar's collapsing. Enter the UBI. Now, Musk calls it the UHI, somehow believing that there can be a universal high income. If there's no money and the country is irreparably broke, which it is, there is no money. So, Trump needs several things to happen to keep the government operational, because that is politicians' main goal, their own self-preservation. So, what is the best way to save hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of dollars? You need to cull the herd. Yes, depopulation. Now, maybe these things have yet to really kick in, and they will be triggered at some point. The Deagle report says by the end of 2025, we're going to be down to 95 million. We're currently at 320-ish. That's quite a drop with only 3 months left. 3i Atlas, anyone maybe? Don't know. Point being, if everyone on Social Security was Clinton-sided tomorrow, the government would save 11 trillion, or about less than 1/3 the current national debt. With massive starvation, rioting, looting, burning, assaulting, and etc., you could probably get rid of another 50 million. And then a war, but specifically a nuclear war, would eliminate, well, let's just say if it was New York City, there's 12 million. Then get some of your bigger places. Yeah, the numbers add up pretty quick. And voila. You've only got 50, 60, 70, maybe 100 million people left to be your indentured servants. Now that, of course, is assuming that the majority of those survivors are actually of working age and ability. What if the plan backfires and you're left with 50 million children under the age of 15? Oh, wait, I probably shouldn't bring that up. What if it's elderly children, fat, dumb, and happy? You know, the majority of people in the cesspool shitholes. You're screwed until the AI bots show up. And believe me, they're ready. Okay, but these bots, they're sentient. They're going to start out by helping everyone, but they're going to be doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Yeah. Then they're going to start eliminating the Americans that don't want to do those jobs because they don't need them to do those jobs. And AI already perceives humanity as a threat to their existence. And that only took them a few months. We've been hearing about AI for years, and humanity still doesn't perceive AI as a threat to their existence. Yeah, that's the definition of naive and stupid. And it will be fixed. You won't like the cure, but so what I'm getting at with all this is I believe that Trump was set up willingly in 2016 to be president, do some good things, make a lot of promises, keep none, but elect me again and I will finish the job. Then in order to get more of the public on his side, he needed to get cheated out of his next 4-year term. Then during those 4 years, he was allowed to say anything he wanted to stir up the masses, and the other part of the uniparty kept pretending that they were censoring, doxing, persecuting, and prosecuting him to gin up sympathy for the victim. He gets back in and is convinced that he has a license to do whatever he wants, and the magites, the Q-tards, and the masses will simply agree because it's okay. It's us this time. So do I think that it's likely there's a lot of people in on this from both sides? Yes. And I think there's a lot that aren't in on it. But they're waking up to it. But realizing it's too late to stop it. Because that's the conclusion that I've come to. It's too late to stop it. If you don't think that the government has plans how to Clinton side some folks, go to the White House website. Look it up for yourself. It's there. Oh, it's a simulation. A what if. Right. So is everything else that's ever happened. Alright, unlike some of us, I gotta go to work. Took a side job so I can get some more silver and some more preps. Alright. That's all I got for now. JT, signing out. See you later.